Hey everyone, Jeremy Saffer here. We just shot the cover of Outburn magazine with Black Veil Brides, and we're going to take a look at the lighting behind the shoot with Nanlite. When shooting a cover, it's all about getting as much variety as possible, as you never know when a single cover can turn into 2, 3, or more covers. And you also want to get as much variety as possible for interior to take up all the pages needed, and to have shots that match the cover shot, so your interior matches the cover. And as you're doing the shoot, you don't always know what setup and what shot will be the cover and which shot won't be the cover. When shooting a cover, sometimes you have a day or two to shoot, and in other situations, sometimes you only have an hour. This shoot was roughly an hour of photography to nail multiple cover options, as well as multiple interior and solo shots to match. The name of the game on a shoot like this is efficiency. So let's quickly talk about equipment and what I brought to this shoot. The cameras I'm using are a Leica SL2, which is my main camera with various lenses, my main lens being the Leica 24-90. I was also shooting with the Hasselblad 907X, which is a medium format digital with the 65mm 2.8. For lighting, for strobes, I brought a Profoto B10 and B10 Plus with reflectors and a 4-foot octa. For lighting, Nanlite, I brought an 8 kit of 30 XR tubes, a 60C triple kit, which has 3 60Cs with reflectors and the battery mounts, a 60B2 with a Forza softbox, a 300B2 with a Para 120, and of course using the Nanlink app. For stands, my main stand is the Matthews Mini Boom Rolling Kit, which I always have a boom, I always have my largest light on it, and those wheels are vital for shoots like this, being able to move that main light quickly. I'm using a medium duty maxi stand for the 60Cs, the side lights, and a backlight stand for a backlight, and Murph stands for all tubes. I went into this shoot with a few lighting ideas already, knowing I really wanted to lean into the red and bloody tonality of their new album Bleeders, which is very horror and Sweeney Todd based. So let's break down the lighting used, first with the selected covers, then we'll go into the interiors and everything else. In terms of lighting, both covers were lit with Nanlite lighting. The cover shot of the band, the main cover, was accomplished by using a 300B2 with a parabolic reflector for hard light boomed above them, straight down for that harsh lighting, with 2 60Cs with mini reflectors on the side pointing down for those pointed beams of red light. And I used atmosphere aerosol to get some fog and beam of light in there. With the lighting coming from above, and especially using harsh lighting, it's important to have the subjects with their heads up toward the light a bit so you don't lose their eyes in the shadow. The only unfortunate part of this lighting set is you do get those harsh shadows under the chin, and you kind of lose the slashed throats, which can be seen in many of the interior images. For the Andy cover, we used a 60B2 with the Forza FM softbox. Simple, single light setup to give those shadows that aren't too harsh, but still directional. I did a full round of solo shots with everybody with this lighting, as it's just a perfect setup for single subject portraits. But with that strong directional lighting and shadow, this is where directing and posing are vital to making the shot work, so the shadows land exactly where you want and the lighting lands exactly where you want it to be. For the interior, we did a variety of different lighting setups. As I mentioned, I really wanted to lean into the horror aspects of the new Bleeders look and give it that really horror Sweeney Todd kind of look to it, as they all have slashed throats in the video, on stage, and in this shoot. So I did a setup using the 300B2 with the Para 120 up front and 6 to 8 30XR Pava tubes as back, side, and rim lighting set to red. When I'm using the tubes in a color mode, I have them at 100% always. And my 300B2 is usually around 15 to 25% depending on the setup to really balance the front lighting with the tubes. Whenever I'm going out to do a shoot with a band and I know it's at one of their concerts, one of their shows, and there's other bands playing, I tend to see who else is on the show that I could potentially work with so I can do multiple photo shoots in a single day. In this case, my friends in UK's premier goth rock band Creeper were on the show, so I also set up a shoot with them. Dark Divine's management also reached out to me when they saw that I was going to be at the show doing shoots, and they booked me to shoot Dark Divine as well. So one shoot in 24 hours quickly turned into 3 shoots just days before the photo shoot was set to happen. For Creeper, I really wanted to lean into the purples that go really well with the band. I started with one set with strobes, but quickly found it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. I wanted more smoke to pop, I wanted more fog, so I immediately switched out to LED. I started with a set of 7 Pavo tubes, the 30 XRs, 3 behind the band, 2 on either side for rim lighting, and using the 300B2 as a main light with the Para 120. Because time was short, the band was in makeup ready for stage and had limited time to do shoot before they went to stage, and that's very common when you're doing shoots during day of show. I started with the tubes purple, shot a bunch like that, and then shifted to a 3000K front light and 5500K backlight to get that moonlit kind of feel while setting the color temperature in my camera to 3000K, giving those very vampiric vibes and making the blood pop even more. In another quick change, we slid the 300B2 out of the way and pulled 2 tubes from behind them, set it to 3000K in an X shape at 50%, while the rim lights, also 30 XRs, are set to 5500K at 100% to continue with the same cold tone kind of vampiric vibes from the previous set, and also making it so the catch light in their eyes will be X. I tend to use a large fog machine, but being that the venue had smoke alarms and they warned me not to use too much smoke, I used aerosol fog, atmosphere aerosol, which complements the tubes so well as they are long light sources that really hit and bounce off that fog so well. They add to any shot when implemented properly. Having limited time with bands, so that's where having the lights in the app and having my assistant make those quick changes in the app instantaneously to make it seamless and easy comes in clutch on almost every shoot I do. For Dark Divine, we had a bit more time as they'd already played their show, they got touched up, and they're ready to go for a shoot. I wanted to lean into a lot of green with them. With Dark Divine, I started my LED sets with a similar set as Creeper, using a 300B2 main with a Para 120, but this time I set it at about a 45-degree angle to the band to add some more shadowing, give it a little bit more creepiness to it, and then using the 7 tubes behind them all set to 100% on green, and then adding 260Cs up top pointed down so they have that green lighting hitting the top of their hair, the top of their heads, and adding more rim light above them as well. And of course, a healthy spray of atmosphere to really catch all of that green. We shot with that light set for the majority and then did some purple and purple green mix behind them using green rims and the purple directly behind them and purple 60Cs, but we found we all collectively really like that green, so just with one quick touch of a button we were back to green, and we shot on that even more. After shooting the green set, we did a color temperature shift to 3000K in camera and set the backlights to 5600K, again giving that cold tonality that I like to use for darker bands. For the final set of solos, I set 2 30XRs to 5500K at 50% and 5 tubes behind them, 1 directly behind each member and 2 to each side for those solo shots, and that's a wrap. Here's my tips or overall insight into a day like this. The most important things on a shoot like this are efficiency and confidence. Being able to get as much variety as possible in the shortest amount of time possible. Never go into a shoot blind. Having ideas ready to go. Knowing what you want to do lighting wise, or at least having some setups in your head that you can instantaneously set up and execute quickly. Always show up hours early to get set up, test everything, do test shots of different lighting setups. Directing is as important as the lighting. You need to direct the subject to get the shot you want to get. A band will feel like they nailed a shoot based on the feedback coming from behind the camera. So if you're hyping them up the entire shoot, telling them how awesome everything looks between directing, that's very important. Also showing them back of camera, getting that immediate feedback from the band is also vital. And that's a look behind the Outburn shoot with Nanlite. Lighting is everything.